day 2 of my solo adventure. This is the Crossville Flea Market, and the Crossville Flea Market is a little different than most I go to. A lot of the ones you go to, it's all that artsy-fartsy stuff up near Nashville, or you know, you go to booth after booth, like big ones like Trader's Village in Texas, and it's like they sell the same thing of Chinese junk. It's just over and over again. And this one's, to me, is a little unique. It's very rustic. Most everything's used or handcrafted. If I can switch this camera around, it's not slipping. Well, it's not swapping around. So, yeah. So, I've stopped in here. I'm on my way to Oliver Springs, and I'm going to do the Devil's Triangle today. I've done this several times. You gotta watch out for mud because there's a lot of four-wheeler off-roaders and connectors to that. But you know, it's 44 miles. It's got a few straight spots in it, but it's much more technically difficult than, say, the Tail of the Dragon, which is just crazy and packed, and it's mostly other people. That's where the dangers come. So I'm gonna get off here. If I find anything interesting, I'll get back. See what I mean? It's like these old, nice old useful tools. Some probably not so useful anymore, but cabinet makers, some still like those kind of things. Alright, I'm out here in Oliver Springs, and I'm about to do the Devil's Triangle. Once I get to the top of the hill, before I get onto 116, I'm going to put my action camera on, and hopefully it works this time. It wasn't connecting right, but I think it was operator's error yesterday, but we'll give it a shot. Hopefully I'm not filming my own demise. I have to go slow because there's probably a lot of gravel and mud on the road, so yeah. But it's fun. I've done this ride a couple of times, and I'm going to stop at the Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary Museum. There's a restaurant there, cafeteria style barbecue. So I'll see you on that side.
Plenty of objective options that one in first gear. Since there's some rocks in the road.
watch as a stream of Republicans and Democrats stand up in support of the enhanced cooperation. Surprise, surprise. Now, what I want to point out, guys, is that's why I do this. We showed you 3 other pieces of legislation. That's not all of it. That basically create a lesser degree of the same problem. And not even create, add to what's already there. So, let's say they removed 224. Rokana and Massey are heroes. They stopped one part of something that's still happening. I would still argue they did a great thing. I'm glad they did it. I think it's worthy of praise. But if it ends up being that stopped it and we're moving on, I'll be suspicious that it was part of a ploy. We should pay attention to that. I just think that's important. And this is what I'm saying. Who else is talking about this stuff in this way? There's plenty of people out there, maybe people that I argue are genuine, honest, who are simply still looking at it like, we gotta stop this one thing. We gotta take this over. We have to take this over. There's always multi-layered agendas. There's always one story.
All right, here we go again. I don't know if I got most of that. I don't know if my phone's falling asleep and it's becoming disconnected or not, but I'll just splice all this together when I'm done. We'll just get a highlights maybe. Keep pulling over and starting the freaking thing over again.
Referencing the Axios report, which, by the way, was false. Even the Israeli media demonstrated that was incorrect, and his own internal people demonstrated that's not actually so. And Warden wants to be quiet about it because Trump seems to want to do the thing.
Damn!
That's what I'm saying. Said about the idea of right now.
And everybody in America,
recognize that it's very common. The general acceptance of this is that it will open the door to very dishonest entities, left or right, by the way, to completely continue to do what they're already doing that nobody supports. Like, ask yourself, why in the world did we go away from that? I mean, guys, not only is this beneficial for their military agenda, they're all wildly profiting from this situation. That's why I think why people like this want this to continue. That's my opinion. I'm not speaking specifically about the guys in the suit. I'm just saying that as a professional part of the government perspective, the status quo benefits them, guys. We know that. So I just insane for him to say that it doesn't create any more oversight somehow. Now that you have one person deciding whether they get to do, be completely collaborative. Like, look, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is if we're going to be buying weapons and so on, as you just heard, well, that's going to include Israel. And like they could be, ultimately we could discuss the idea. Now I'm not going to say I know how that's going to go, whether or not it's, end of the day, if what we believe is that this country, which we can clearly hear them all saying, want to keep giving weapons and support to Israel, why would they then push us to a direction where none of that happens anymore? I mean, this is the basic deductive logic, guys. They keep telling you, we got to support Israel, we got to fund them, or if we're all going to be killed by Muslims everywhere, or whatever they're all pushing. But then go, but now we don't need to do it anymore because they're good and they've got enough money. How do both those things exist in the same conversation? Because people are being blinded by partisan politics.
I designate a single official responsible for them. Claims that this provision somehow cedes authority to a foreign government are simply ridiculous. I urge all members to oppose the amendment.
Now, by the way, I didn't hear him say ceding authority entirely. He simply said that it's fusing parts of the mill, which is what it's doing, by definition of what you can read there. But yeah, because these people have an interest in this. Mr. Rogers here.
And we have Mr. Smith, ranking member, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm actually very sympathetic with some aspects of the remarks of Mr. Khanna about the frustration we have with Netanyahu's leadership in Israel. We have endless wars now, in Gaza, in the West Bank for that matter, in Lebanon. No effort to negotiate, no effort to find partners for peace amongst the Palestinians or the Lebanese, even where there are opportunities to do that. Mr. Netanyahu insisted on this war with Iran that has strengthened Iran and weakened our position.
Isn't this a restaurant here?
This is a Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary chow. Way better chow than I had when I was locked up, but never here though. So I made it through the Devil's Triangle. Wasn't near as much gravel on it as I thought there would be. Probably a little loud in here, but yeah, I thought I'd change this up. May do a podcast in my hotel room later. This is their chow, like cafeteria style. Looks better than those trays we had when I was locked up in county, that's for sure. So yeah, solo trip by myself. Perfectly fine. I can ride how I want to, or ride where I want to. Little getaway. I have to get away, man. So here's the gift shop. I guess they mix drink. They got drinks. Got it by the drink here. It's like moonshine, different flavors and stuff. So I got the wife a few things. But yeah. Sorry about that. So we're back outside. I'm not going to do the tour this time. I've done that. I've done that before. But there's a penitentiary way up there. And it really is a good tour. Yeah.
You see the slanted roof all the way back there? That's the stage there.
And then behind the penitentiary.
That whole so the field where they used to play like softball and all that. So we'll have people back there be like, man, I spent 15 years here in prison. Now I'm drinking a beer, listening to music. I can't believe it.
Oh man,
I wouldn't come back.
I wouldn't come back.
Did you guys do the tour? Did y'all do the tour?
No man, we just got some food.
It's really good.
Really good?
I'm just shooting a video for my blog if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tour is good. They've had, the place is supposedly haunted. A lot of the workers will tell you that.
Yeah.
And they had them on
a lady just came out the bathroom and said that bathroom was haunted. You see, she go in, the water came on by itself, and then the dryer came on.
Oh yeah,
I was walking the hallway with her.
They've been on Travel Channel, Paranormal caught on camera. And
Man.
what was the guy's name that killed Martin Luther King? What was his name? Lee Harvey Oswald. No, that was Kennedy. I forget. James Earl Ray. Yeah. They said that something about him and a cigarette. If you can lay a cigarette down or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. It's Stealth Patriot on Rumble. You asked about my blog. Yeah, it's Stealth Patriot on Rumble.
Still Patriot?
Stealth Patriot.
Stealth Patriot. Okay.
It's more of a non-partisan, like, look, I hate Republicans and Democrats both. I think government is a problem. You know, if it wasn't for what James Madison said about, that men are not angels, I'd say you don't even need any kind of government. But because I'm kind of more of an anarchist, really. But yeah. All right, fellas, y'all be safe.
All right now.
Got a nice group of bikes, man.